Okay, here we go. Week 5, day 10 of programming. Today we do some design to coding. Okay, we finish up talking about conditionals, and the students need to look at their quiz results I have posted. Alright, I'm not going to go through all the details here, but here's what we did. We talked about analysis. This is landing spot. Problem has to do with landing spot. And we went through here. Yeah. Landing spot. And so we went through these particular steps, right? We were given the radius, a band. We're going to paint this band around here. Gallons of paint. And then for the process we added some information. We've already done this problem, or that they have a copy, the students, you guys have a copy of this, but we talked about if the diameter is greater than 100, the band needs to be 10 feet. If it's 1 to 100 feet, the band needs to be 5 feet. Paint to the nearest gallon. This is really important. We talked about the legend again. Okay, the legend should not have formulas in it. All it's doing is defining what these variables are that you're going to use in the program, so somebody can make sure they understand what they are in terms of the program. So we defined them all here. I'm not going to read them all to you. We may have left one out, but I don't think so. Okay, so we defined all these items. Okay, so this legend's defining the variables we're going to use to solve the problem. Then we did a flow chart. Okay, so we have a initialization box, and we set all these. We initialized all these values. We had the start. Okay, and then we have an arrow that touches the start box, touches this box, this initialization box, one in, one out. And so you can see the flow here. The flow can divert. It can go either this way or this way. And then we did some calculation, and then the rest of the flow chart would have been the same as the previous example. What we are emphasizing here are a couple things. First of all, process boxes are where you do calculation, okay, or assigning values to variables. This is an input-output box, okay, and you notice here you can do calculations inside a conditional. Take the radius times 2, see if that's greater than the diameter cutoff. Okay, here's the diameter cutoff. If that is true, then we're going to use band 2, 10 feet. If that isn't true, we're going to use band 1. We're going to assign that to band 5 feet. All right. Not all the pseudocode is here, but you notice you have a start and a stop. You have a start and a stop in the flow chart, okay, that we talked about earlier. And then we have all the initialization. We input the radius, and then we do an if statement. Okay. If the radius times 2, which would give us the diameter, if that is greater than a diameter cutoff, which we stored 100 there, then the band's going to be equal to here. Else, the band's going to be equal to 1. This one was the 10, and this one was the 5. So let's look at that a little more closely. Okay. So here's the conditional right here. So based on that condition, if it's true, it's going to do what's here. If it's false, it's going to do what's here. If it does the true part, it skips the false and continues here. If it's false, it does the false part and continues here and skips the true part. This is a little bit how it's coded in Python. You give the conditional, colon, here's the true part, and it must be indented, else, colon, here's the false part, and it must be indented. And then the rest of the code continues there. So here's an example of the actual code. Might be a little hard to see. This code is in group 10. It's in that directory if students want to go look at it. But you see, here's the initialization. Here we input the radius. And here we check. If the radius times 2 cut off, you notice there's a colon right there, then it does the true part. This is in there just to check to see it do the true part. Then else, you know, it's the colon right there, here's the false part, and then we go back to the main part of the program. This is the same as we had before, but this part in here, the true false part, here what that does is that alters the values stored in band. So when we use band here, it's using the correct value. Alright. One other note I'll make. We looked at a byte of Python. You have access. Oops, let me back up there. Alright, a byte of Python, you have access to that resource, and in there you can look up flow control. To help with some of the if statements. And that's it for today.